Hello, I'm Hal Lublin.
And I'm Mark Gagliardi.
Since the dawn of humanity, one issue has gone unsettled. With the fate of the world in the balance, we're here to settle, once and for all, best mustard.
That's right. Don't worry, everyone. We got this.
Podcast should have a theme song. Podcast should not have a theme song. Yes, they should. No, they shouldn't. They sound good. Yeah, but people are just going to skip past it. You know what? You're right. We got this.
Welcome to We Got This with Mark and Hal, the show where we settle the debates nobody else will touch. This is very special. This is our season 1 finale.
That's right. Our 400th episode and the finale of season 1 of We Got This with Mark and Hal. And Hal, I got you a present.
Oh, you did?
For our season finale, I got you a present. Our 400th episode. It's a big one. Are you ready?
Yeah. All right.
Here it is.
Let me open it up.
Open it up.
Hold on.
Yeah. Right in there.
Oh, it's big. I don't want to damage the wrapping paper.
Oh, it's okay. You can, you know what?
No. I'm going to save it.
I'm not going to lie. I'm going full Matryoshka on this. So it's just a box and 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 a box until you get down to the envelope.
Oh, let me use my X-ray gun.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's a keychain.
That's right. It's a keychain.
It just says I Heart Orlando on it.
Yeah.
You were in Orlando recently.
I was just
so you picked this up at the airport.
Yeah. Happy 400th episode, buddy. No, a keychain is a symbol, Hal, a symbol of travel. And in this episode, we are taking a trip around the world, my friend.
I got you a gift too, but it seems weird now that I'm copying because you got me a keychain and I got you a new car, which has a keychain to catch the key. So I'll just going to return it. Never mind.
Wait, Hal, wait, what?
I wanted to get you something special. Like I put a lot of thought and I've been thinking about it probably since episode 200. What am I going to get Mark? I'm like, oh, we talk about the car troubles all the time, the car troubles. I know you have a reliable car now, but I thought, Mark's a great guy. He deserves a great car.
Thanks,
so
man.
I got you an electric car. The one that you've wanted. Wow. That plug-in at full electric.
Well, that keychain that I got you, Hal, it's not just the keychain. It represents the trip around the world. That's something, right?
Yeah, I can, yeah. No, it's really not. It's weird. The X-ray gun also turned up the card, said it was for your brother. Then your brother's name was scratched out. So I guess you gave it to him and he didn't want it. So you just put it in a bunch of boxes and gave it to me.
Maybe.
I appreciate it. Let's talk about mustard.
That's why we're going around the world, Hal.
We
mustard.
Are?
Yeah, that was the whole point of that whole bit.
Oh my goodness. I was so
setting
determined.
up the structure for the whole episode.
Oh my goodness.
And you were determined to make it about my brother.
Well, I can't help it. I'm always thinking of Gabe.
Sure.
I've got Gabe on my mind. That's
sure.
I haven't finished the song yet, but
He did make that mustard sauce that one time, which actually is true and is a delicious South Carolina barbecue sauce.
Yeah, mustard-based sauce, sure.
So, Hal, Eve Mazzara asked us a very long time ago. This one's been on the list for a while.
Yeah.
What's the best mustard? And I didn't know much about mustard, and I took a little dive. And in taking this dive, I realized how global mustard is. So
it's true. It is a part of every cuisine.
Absolutely. It goes back to the Indus Valley over 4,000 years ago. It was used in ancient Egypt, ancient Rome, ancient Greece. The Bible has the story of the mustard seed. They were using mustard even back then. It's used all over Asia, all over Europe, and of course here in the United States, famously on our hot dogs.
Basic mustard. The most basic mustard, probably the reason why it dates back so far is it's basically ground mustard seed and vinegar. Essentially. With some other things added, and there are different things like a Dijon mustard, like what you mix in might be a little different, but generally that would have been like, it's a very basic condiment in terms of how it is made.
But it was not used as a condiment that far back. Back then it was ground up and used as a spice primarily and as a medicine. In ancient Rome, it was thought to cure hysteria. So that's good.
Sure.
Yeah. If you really want your mustard and then you're satisfied once you get your mustard. Yeah, it got rid of your mustard fever, that kind of hysteria.
Thank goodness.
But no, it didn't start getting used. The way that we know of it as a condiment until the Romans took it to northern France and the monks started cultivating it. And then in the 13th century, the 1200s, monks in Dijon, France came up with this prepared mustard condiment as we know it, was when that appeared. And then after that, to just give the quick history of it, by the way, that mustard in Dijon, France in the 13th century was encouraged by Pope John the 23rd, who was from Avignon, and named his nephew who lived in Dijon the Grand Mustardier du Pope. So the Pope had his own mustard man.
Cool,
and then
you
it was
have to.
Early 19th century, beginning of the Industrial Revolution, the English started milling mustard into flour, and it began to be used as an industrial food ingredient. And that's when we have the beginning of big companies, Grey Poupon in the mid 1800s, Coleman's in England making their prepared mustard, all the way up to French's in 1904 in Rochester, New York, creating American style yellow mustard. But it was also used in China with the Chinese hot mustard, which is just that mustard, that a very specific hot mustard and water, which activates its enzymes and gives it that super, super tart mustardness. And then there's a horseradish mustard that came from Japan. Mustard seeds, brown mustard seeds used in India, but were mostly just toasted and used as an ingredient and never turned into that prepared style mustard. So there's the brief history of mustard. We're going to take a world tour today, Hal. How do you want to break this down? Do you want to start in Europe? Do you want to start in Asia? Do you want to start right up the street from where you went to college in Rochester, New York? What sounds good?
I'm happy to start anywhere, but before we go on tour, I'm very excited about the trip. I have my suitcase. I have a fresh suitcase with no stickers on it. Ooh. So I can load it up with stickers from this trip.
And I have this brand new electric car.
And I have a keychain that your brother didn't want.
Look, man, I'm sorry, okay?
No, I'm happy. I love it.
You want to know something funny?
What?
Hanging on my fridge right now, because I have not physically seen you, is the keychain gift that I bought you at the airport in Cleveland when I went to go see Ancient Alien.
Did you really buy me a...
Hold on.
Oh, see, the best bits are
price
when
tag on it and everything.
The best bits are when neither of us, there's no way to.
Yeah. And it's a lenticular. Is that what it's called?
It's a lenticular. So you can see the Guardians logo. Yeah. Like Cleveland written in the Guardians font.
Yeah. It is definitely a bootleg. So it just says Cleveland's in Guardian font. And the baseball down in the corner says Ohio in huge letters. On the baseball. So yeah, you weren't far off with a airport keychain for old Hal Lublin. But how do you want to do this? What were you about to say?
I want to get a sense of what we're looking for, because we could just spend time talking about how there are different mustards, and that's fine. But we toured this. Where we got this. Eve wants to know what the best mustard is.
Yes.
How do you decide that?
Well, there are different types in our culinary tour of the world. We're going to talk about the different kinds of mustard. The 4 different types of mustard seed, the multiple different kinds of mustard grind, and what each of those individual mustards have contributed and where they fall in our particular enjoyment of them. But I think you're right. I think we should start with a baseline of what we personally enjoy. What kind of mustard do you reach for when you're in the store?
I always have to have yellow mustard. I think you have to, if you live in the United States of America, at least. Have a bottle of yellow mustard, whether you ever use it or not.
At least in July.
In your fridge. So I love it. That's the mustard that we put on pretzels as a kid. That's the mustard that we put on hot dogs. It was just the mustard you always had. It was always there. We didn't have a ton of money, so it didn't cost a lot. It was there for us, available. Brown mustard felt fancier, like a Grey Poupon also felt like they've always sold themselves as the mustard of the elite.
Yeah. Did you ever see, there was one of these food shows that talked about Grey Poupon specifically and their marketing campaign. It was like an I Love the 80s or one of these, or the food that built us, or one of these shows where they interview people on the history of a thing. Sure. But they're talking about Grey Poupon, and that was the genius of them, was they put it in glass. They made it only a couple bucks more expensive, but they made you feel like you were the fanciest person in the world if you had it.
This is treating yourself. If you have this.
Yeah.
Mustard.
If I can't afford a brand new electric car.
Yeah.
I can afford an extra couple of bucks to buy the mustard in the glass jar that makes me feel extra fancy.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, 100%. I do think, like, as I've gotten older, I didn't like the spicy mustard when I was a kid because I just wasn't conditioned to like spicy things. But now when I get Chinese food, I enjoy the spicy mustard.
Yeah.
I like that kick. I like how it clears my sinuses out.
Mm-hmm.
But there are a lot of different mustards that feel like they're for specific things. Like honey mustard is good to put on something.
Yeah.
But it is not. I like a yellow mustard or a brown mustard because you use them on so many different things. I think what we are looking for, and I'm sure like an aioli as well, aioli, it just feels like it's a very specific, like this is a sandwich. An aioli is a sandwich topper more than anything.
Mayo more than a mustard.
It is a mustard made with, it's mustard and mayonnaise. It's the baby they had.
I thought that
when
was
a mustard
Dijonnaise.
and a mayonnaise love each other very much. They have two children.
Gross.
They had Dijonnaise and they had aioli. And aioli tried to murder Dijonnaise. It's in the mustard Bible. Did you know that?
No. The only mustard I knew about in the Bible was the mustard seed that grows into a big tree.
Yeah, well, that's that too. And then Eve used that mustard on a sandwich, and then she gained.
It was that Jonah
knowledge.
whale sandwich that she ate, right?
Mm-hmm.
That she had it in Jericho.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember vaguely. She had it for 8 days, but she only thought she had enough sandwich for one day.
Yeah, boy, we're really dipping into every possible Judeo-Christian. Just a big mashup.
Yeah.
The mustard
her amazing Technicolor dream sandwich of mustard.
My mustard of many colors. It is yellow and it's brown. Spread it up or spread it down. It's my jar of Grey Poupon for rich folks. You know.
I know. So that's
where you want to go.
Go-to. That's your go-to. Is it you like a yellow and then like a deli mustard, brown
yellow
mustard,
or brown? Yeah. What about you?
Well, it makes sense that those would be what you would enjoy because as an American, those are the ones that we know the best.
Sure.
We know East Coast deli mustard and, which is brown mustard seeds, stone ground usually. So it has that coarser grind to it and a few spices mixed in. Those based a little bit more on the German style of mustards.
Mm-hmm.
And then that American yellow mustard made famous in Rochester, New York, 1904. And
that's a
I don't know why
New
that's
England
a Boston accent.
Rochester.
Rochester. No, that's a Jack Benny accent talking to.
No, that's Hi Hale. That was my roommate's girlfriend.
She was from Rochester.
Stephanie. He was from Rochester. They were both from Rochester.
What's the chicken kid
from?
School. Is the chicken kid Buffalo? Yeah, it's chicken. Yeah, I'm standing out here in a freezing cold because I might get some chicken.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if I've seen that.
Oh, that kid's amazing. It looks like a kid. The best tweet I saw about it was like, this kid looks like he could lay my drywall. Like it's this kid in a starter jacket talking about, fried chicken.
It sounds very like Central New York. Yeah. They're like, we have a yellow mustard that we make here. We put it on our garbage plates. And if you're going to get wings, you might get a big pretzel, like a Bavarian pretzel.
Oh, yeah.
You might put, some beer mustard on the side. So we have that too. We have that. Cat, bat, Hale. Hi, Hale. My name became multiple syllables.
Wow. You had a diphthong name.
I did. It developed one.
Well, you married a Southerner, so you also have a diphthong name now.
Hale.
Hale.
That's not what she sounds like.
I don't know. I was trying to over accent it.
You know how she walks in and she's like, hi, Yowl. How are you doing, Hale? Bless your heart, Hale. How you doing?
You don't hear it anymore, though. You don't hear Jen's Southern accent anymore?
No, I hear it all the time. Yeah. I hear it. But, we're too, as actors, we're tuned to hear and observe the world around us.
No. Tell me more about it. What is your favorite curse word?
Boondoggle.
Ooh, you're so old-timey. So let's start it. We're starting in the United States, and we've got some good ones already laid out there. That the USA yellow mustard classic. What's funny? That one, I never really grew up on that one at home.
Really?
We always had Golden's,
Golden's brown mustard.
Golden's
yes.
Spicy brown mustard. Yeah.
Spicy brown.
That was our brown mustard of choice.
It looked like it was wearing an orange witch's hat. Because you had the screw top, you had to loosen it, lefty-loosey it and it raised it enough to create the squirt hole.
Wait, what?
You would
Yeah. normally I just try to roll with it. I was trying to figure out what the heck you were talking about.
You twist the witch's hat to the left, and then it lifts off of the nub.
Oh, yeah.
And then you makes a squirt hole for the mustard. Yeah. And then when you're done, you turn the witch's hat righty-tighty, and then it closes and forms a seal.
Can I tell you, I thought that was how all squirt bottles worked, because that was the most ubiquitous squirt bottle of my childhood. Right. Flip cap with a little valve. No, come on. Get out of here.
And yellow mustards did that too, especially if you got the one that was like a barrel, barrel, and then
I like the little glass. I bought some Dusseldorf mustard a while back that it came in a little glass bear. It looks like a little beer stein. Great. Love that stuff. You know what? Let's jump to Germany.
Sure.
Let's hop in the electric car here. And, I'm going to keep me and I'm going to hang it up here on the mirror.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. It looks good up there. Anyway, so we're going to drive to Germany. We're taking the Autobahn. Whoa,
it's too fast.
And we have a couple of different types of mustard in Germany. We have Bavarian mustard, which is super coarse. This is coarse mustard.
Yeah, I don't like that. It looks like boba.
Yeah, it looks like tiny boba. You don't
like that? No.
You know what? I'm a
mouthfeel guy.
The mouthfeel of it is weird. Bavarian sweet mustard, though, that's good with a pretzel, but it is a unground whole kernel, if you will, whole seed mustard.
I have the same issue with this mustard that I do with chunky peanut butter. Like, finish chewing it or just give me a jar of seeds and let me do it myself. I have a mortar and pestle. We do, but we also determined that smooth was better in our episode.
We did, but I
hate calling it smooth. It feels really weird.
Yeah, you like it smooth.
No, creamy peanut butter.
Yeah,
I don't like calling it smooth. You called it smooth that episode, and I haven't been able to shake it ever since. Whenever I see somebody write it, I go, ew.
Smooth.
Don't write smooth peanut butter. It's gross. There are
97.3. This is Smooth Peanut Butter Radio.
We've got the smoothest peanut butter. This next one is from Peter Pan, who I knew back in the 50s. We worked together on a peanut butter session.
Say, didn't you guys work at 97.9 Creamy Jazz?
We sure did. That's what we used to call it. Now Creamy Jazz is even grosser than smooth peanut butter. Can we leave Germany? I don't want all these seeds everywhere.
No, let's talk about Dusseldorf mustard. Here's what's great about Dusseldorf mustard. It's fine ground, so it's that, and it's got the turmeric. It's the yellow, sort of like what you think of that pretzel mustard, but it uses vinegar instead of white wine.
Right.
So it's similar to Dijon, except it uses vinegar instead of white wine. I like it. It's just got a little bit more of a complexity to it than straight American yellow mustard does.
Mm-hmm.
It also feels a little thicker. But that might just be that I'm used to French's, which is a straight up condiment. Yeah, watery condiment. Have you had this kind of mustard? Like, what do you put on a pretzel usually? You just go straight. Some of these are so nuanced that if you have a yellow mustard in the fridge, you're not going to also have a Dusseldorf mustard.
I like the pretzel by itself. I think a well-made soft pretzel at least has like the flavor is good enough that I don't need a mustard on it. If I do have mustard, it's generally a yellow mustard, but I'm kind of like, I'll try different things. I kind of would like to do a horseradish or like a spicy Asian mustard on it. I think that would probably be pretty good. I feel like by and large throughout my life in Philadelphia, it was yellow mustard was generally the most popular, but there was no it wasn't like don't put mayonnaise on a hoagie.
Right.
Or don't put ketchup on a hoagie. It wasn't like the stuff that I've seen people get yelled at for in restaurants.
Yeah, mustard is generally more respected, it seems.
Yeah, it's sort of like whatever mustard you like.
Yeah. And it's all over the world too, so everybody knows mustard.
Yeah. That's the interesting challenge here. You can't say objectively, well, everybody thinks that Dijon is trash, so we can just forget about that. That's not true. Some people prefer a hot dog with yellow mustard. Some people like a bratwurst with a Dijon or with a Dusseldorf or with a Bavarian mustard on it. Like there's just everything's got its own even down to like chicken. Chicken can be good. I've been wanting to make a marinade for chicken breast that is yellow mustard with a little bit of honey and red pepper flakes.
Oh, so like a spicy honey mustard chicken?
Spicy, a little sweet. It's also got like the tanginess of the mustard. I think it might work. I kind of have to experiment with it, but it could just as easily be any kind of mustard. That's just sort of like there are people who use stone ground or brown on chicken. You've seen all of it.
Yeah, those sort of, because it's such a global food and it's been changed around and, morphed, and like the Germans stone ground it, so it was a little more coarse, and the English made it a powder so that they could do it industrially. Like the whole world came together to create what we know of as. Well, no, that's what makes yellow mustard. We wouldn't have prepared yellow mustard like we do. Coleman's English mustard.
Let's make this a powder.
Yeah. And then they sell the powder, and you can also, do you ever cook with mustard powder?
No.
Oh, I'd love it.
I would, but I know I said it like that, but I would.
Yeah.
I've never.
It's one of my mom's secret ingredients. She'll put it in
cereal,
like grits, biscuits. It just gives it like a tangy kick to different things. And I heard a crazy thing today that I enjoyed, which was French's now has created mustard buns that have mustard powder in the flour of these hot dog buns.
Okay.
Come on. That sounds good.
Okay. Calm down. You're not a bread company, French's. Stay in your lane.
French's bread. Hello.
No. French's. That's true. Yeah. I do have. I had a sandwich out of French's bread this week. You know what?
Exactly.
I didn't connect that they were the same company. That's how distinct the products are.
1871, Dave Baguette created the whole enterprise.
Wow.
Yeah. Along with Mike Weiner. And that's why we have hot dogs. Sure. Let's take a break.
Let's take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll continue our trip around the world. So stay tuned and listen to all these words that are about to come into your ears.
Listen to all these words.
I'm sure you've noticed how giant corporations are controlling more and more about what we consume, whether it's our food, our news, or even the shows we enjoy.
The Greatest Generation is a show that stands up to big Star Trek and says no. We can laugh about costumes that fit too tightly in the groin area.
We can make a Star Trek podcast that's basically only about that.
The Greatest Generation, the show for free and independent thinkers about Star Trek.
And the groins of different costumes.
Reviewing every episode in order.
So subscribe to The Greatest Generation on MaximumFun.org. You'll be doing your part in telling the Star Trek industrial complex that they can't control your mind.
Hi, it's Kevin from Max Fun HQ. This year for Giving Tuesday, we're inviting you to a super fun tarot event. It's got some of your favorite Max Fun hosts, and it's for a great cause. Join Depeche Mode's John Moe, Carrie Poppy of Ono, Ross and Carrie, Stuart Wellington from The Flophouse, Tom Lum from Let's Learn Everything, and Ellen Weatherford of Just the Zoo of Us. Your suggested $10 donation supports National Casa GAL and their work advocating for kids in foster care. That's this Giving Tuesday, November 29th at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. Check out MaximumFun.org/events for more information and tickets to the Tarot Show with John Moe.
All right, Hal, let's go to France.
Oh, oui, c'est très joli.
But first, we're going to make a quick pit stop for some dessert for later. We're going to get some mostarda from Italy, which is candied fruit pickled in mustard. And it is delicious.
I don't, hard to think of like
a little bit of it over ice cream.
There are some, don't you feel, Mark, that there are some cultures which are better equipped for dessert than other cultures. And Italy has some fine baked goods. We've discussed their baked goods before. They're wonderful. However, it's not all good.
Are you about to A, insult my people, and B, turn our mustard episode yet again into something about desserts?
Yes, and you did that.
Fair.
You brought us to desserts. I'm just pointing out
us to desserts.
This is the Jurassic Park. Just because we could doesn't mean that we should. I don't want mustard flavor in my dessert.
Yeah, well, guess what? Nature finds a way to put mustard flavor in your dessert.
See, this is what happens when you put mustard powder into a fake Barbasol can. Oh.
Yeah. Mustard is a clever girl, Hal. All right, so let's go to France. This one, I think, for me personally, is the one to kick off the mountain, and that's Dijon mustard. I have always loved it. I will dip fries. I will get a ramekin of Dijon mustard and dip fries in it. I love that wine taste that it has.
Yeah.
I love the texture of it. I love cooking with it. I love making salad dressing with it. I have nothing ill to say about Dijon mustard.
Yeah, it is a lovely mustard, has a great texture as well. And maybe thanks in part to Grey Poupon, and also thanks in part to just the idea that it's French cuisine. Mm-hmm. It has a sense of elevation to it. So there's a classiness to it.
Yeah.
But also it's great on a sandwich. It's great as a cooking ingredient. Great as a salad dressing. I agree. I think it's kind of the one to knock off of the mountain.
Yeah.
Much as I personally prefer a yellow mustard, but I think Dijon is far more flexible.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's good in sauces. Like it's rare that I would use yellow mustard in a sauce.
Yeah.
I think Dijon in a sauce.
Yeah. Reputationally, even it's better.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And I love me some history. It's the one that invented the condiment version of mustard.
Well, there you go.
Dijon, France.
It's the one that started it all. That's from a musical nobody here has seen.
What musical is that?
That is from Ron West's The People versus Friar Lawrence.
You know what? That's not true, Hal.
Oh, you did come see that, didn't you?
I did see that.
Well, that show, while I was doing that show, I think that was when I came to see your Level 5 show. Did you and Jennifer, were your Level 5 shows at the same time?
Maybe.
2003 or 4?
Somewhere around then. Yeah.
I graduated
I was in there with
2002.
Goldenberg. Yeah. You were right before me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then maybe it was in between. But yeah, I did.
You were a senior when I was a junior. Don't you remember all those wedgies you gave me when you were putting me in the Second City lockers?
I do remember.
Yeah.
Yeah,
good. I remember too, Hal.
That was fun.
That's why you got a keychain and I got a car.
How the bully emerges again. Yeah, I do remember seeing your show though.
So France is the top of the mountain right now.
It's one of the best food countries in the world. Paris is one of the best food cities in the world.
Yeah. Of course, they're going to climb up to the top. But let's go to some other places around the world. We've visited China. I would argue that Chinese hot mustard, it serves a different function.
Clearing out your sinuses?
Yeah, but that function it is good at. Japanese mustard does the same thing. Karashi yellow horseradish mustard.
Oh my goodness. Anything with horseradish is...
Yeah, I love a good horseradish mustard too.
Do not touch your eyes.
No. That Japanese mustard could give the Chinese mustard a run for its money simply for the horseradish to it. Japan does horseradish really well. Wasabi, Karashi. Yeah.
Yeah, they do. I do like the hot mustard. I think it's wonderful. I don't find it, at least in an international sense, as widely applicable.
Yeah, I think you're right. There's not as much you can do with it. I just wanted to make sure it got its due because
we talked about it. It is wonderful for what it can do. It is wonderful.
It's my favorite of the sauces in like American Chinese takeout food. Also,
I love a good duck sauce.
Yeah,
but it's very hard to find it made. The only place I've found out here that makes it the way I like it, that I'm used to having in the East Coast, is Genghis Cohen, which is so far away that I have not had it in a long time. Like I just haven't lived near it. I've never lived near it, but when we were going to Second City, when it was located on Melrose, it was like down the block,
down the street.
So you always had a reason to go there. Or when I was hanging out with Ben Acker.
I was going to say, you
lived down the street from it.
Yeah.
Oh my God. God.
Yeah. I liked Genghis Cohen a lot.
Yeah.
I like the mustard packets. I like that.
They're great spicy mustard. And then you mix the sweet
mustard. Yeah.
Oh, you take the crispy noodles. Do this next time you have it. Do a little bit of the duck sauce or sweet and sour sauce, whatever they call it. To me, those are two different things. And then you dip it in the mustard. So you get the sweet and the insane heat. It's so good together.
It's like making honey mustard, but with Chinese mustard.
I like it better than honey mustard. I'm not a honey mustard fan because there's something that feels like it's trying too hard.
I remember the honey mustard at some big chain restaurants like Applebee's or Chili's or one of them. Right. A friend of mine was a server there and told me that is gram for gram is the most calorie potent food on that menu.
Oh,
because they're honey mustard. I was like, why? It's honey and mustard. He's like, nope, it is mayonnaise with a little bit of honey and a little bit of mustard. It is mostly mayo.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, that's why it's so creamy and delicious. And also it shouldn't be creamy and delicious if it's just honey and mustard.
It gives it texture and a ton of fat.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. Is duck sauce for duck or from duck?
people will throw it at you, so you have to duck because it's so good. They're like, you got to try this, but duck.
Gotcha.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. I was just curious about that. That's why my brain seemed to fade off a few seconds ago because I was wondering that. But now I know that that duck in this case is the verb.
That's right.
All right. Let's make one little swing back around before we head back to the United States, back to our respective homes. We're going to make a quick pit stop in India just to throw one last one in there, which is, and this might be against if not the letter of the law for this episode, then the spirit of the law for this episode. And I will use the Indian preparation as a symbol for the whole thing. And that is non-prepared mustard as a spice used in any other preparation. Is the best use of mustard making it a condiment? Let's answer that question.
I think so. I think when you ask what the best mustard is, I think we think naturally of the condiment and its many different uses. Mustard powder is, as you pointed out, thanks to the British, I guess.
You don't want to thank the British for anything? Man, you are a Pennsylvanian.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It's ours. That's
Throw all this mustard in the harbor.
That's right. Then dip your wieners in. Put in those French's buns.
Hey, everybody,
you have a
dip your wieners in this harbor. Now I can use the Boston accent.
There you go.
My neighbors are wondering right now, did he just yell, dip your wieners in the harbor in a Boston accent?
Yeah, I think we're talking about the condiment. As great as it is to have mustard as a powder that can be used a bunch of different ways, I think we're talking about the condiment specifically.
Yeah, I think you're right. I just wanted to throw that out there because I think it is, I would like to point out how useful it is.
Sure.
In other preparations.
Recorded.
It seems to me like the things that we are looking at, unsurprisingly, as Americans, is yellow mustard, deli mustard, which I will just put all stone ground brown mustard into that pool.
I'll allow it.
And Dijon mustard. That seems like those would have been the big three that we'd come up with anyway, right?
Yeah.
Maybe the German Dusseldorf pretzel mustard, which feels like a better version of a better and yet less ubiquitous version of American yellow mustard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
None of those are better than Dijon, right?
No, I think Dijon wins.
You know, the episode doesn't have to be an hour long.
That's true.
How long has this episode been? Ken, how long have we been going? All right. Well, we're in hour 14. Isn't it amazing that when we first started, we were like, let's keep it a half an hour. And then here we are at the end of our first season.
Yeah.
And honestly, you know, what's crazy, I remember when you and I were starting, we were like, well, let's try it for one season and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
And so we've done it for one season now.
I think it's a good amount of time for us to kind of gauge whether we want to keep doing it. I mean, one season, 400 episodes, like.
Yeah. It's a normal podcast season.
Yeah. How do you feel?
I still enjoy doing it. I think we had a really interesting discussion recently about what we think makes the show work. And, you know, I think we hit more often than we miss. You can't have a normal season and have every episode be a home run.
Sure.
But I think we understand what makes it work. And I still enjoy doing it every time. Like I look forward to having the conversation.
It is the highlight of my week, my friend. And
the best part is this week. Like when we hang out outside of this, I don't feel like, well, we've done all of our talking, even though for me, like the conversations we have by and large are the conversations I would have with, if this was a conversation we were having with no microphone, I would still be talking the way I'm talking to you.
Yeah. There would just be more swearing.
But on top of that, there'd be more swearing. But on top of that, when we spend time together without microphones, I'm still enriched and enjoy even more talking with you because I get to do it so much. Like, oh, I enjoy doing this. So any opportunity for us to talk is a pleasure. So no
one makes me laugh as hard as you do, Hal.
Oh, thanks, buddy. You always make me laugh, true. And I'm amazed at how your mind works. I mean that in a positive way. So I want to keep going. Do you want to keep going?
I mean, it's only been one season. We can't even know what the pitfalls might even be at this point, you know?
Well, I mean,
I say let's do it. Let's lead with hope and not with fear. And I mean, one season does not feel like enough. So if you're down to do it, I'm down to do another season.
I am too, but we're also on a network.
That's true.
And so we don't get to make the decision of whether we're picked up for another season. That's up to Jesse.
Yeah. Jesse Thorne, the guy who runs Maximum Fun.
Fortunately, we're going to have Jesse on next week for a very special Thanksgiving clean plate. And I think it's a good opportunity for us to show him we're still excited to do the show.
Yeah.
We want the show to continue, and hopefully that's something he's willing to greenlight. So we'll find out next week whether or not we're getting a second season. But for now, people of the world, if this is the last decision we ever made for you, we made another correct decision. So you can look back on the 400 decisions we've made and hopefully many more to come, at least another 400.
Yeah.
And you can feel like, oh, I know now whether ketchup goes on a hot dog. I know how to hang my toilet paper. I know whether Star Wars or Star Trek is better. I know what kind of soap I should be buying. And now you know that the best mustard of them all is Dijon mustard, the fanciest, the mustard for the fancy person. Treat yourself. You're fancy. You're smart, and you're worth it. So, asked and answered, Dijon mustard is the best mustard.
That's right. But Hal, listen, we've done a full season. We have discussed many, many topics.
Yeah.
But I have a sneaking suspicion that there are many more topics to discuss. Should we get a second season and the people of the world want us to keep answering things, I think they should reach out to us on Twitter at We Got This Tweets.
Yeah. And you can always email us at wegotThisPodcast@gmail.com. No matter what, we're going to keep the Facebook group going because it's such a wonderful place to be on the internet. And we want you to be there with us. So second season or just one season, we will never be out of season as far as it comes to that community. We want to keep talking with you. We want to keep hearing what you have to say. There's no reason why if we don't get picked up, we shouldn't still all talk to one another and stay in touch. That would be the biggest mistake not to do that.
Yeah.
So I want to give some thank yous just in case. When we started this show, Ken Plume was the person, before he was our producer, was the person who helped us get into iTunes and who made stuff sound good even when we had no money to pay him, and who has been supportive and kept us on schedule and helped get us guests and really done his best to encourage and support us. So I can't thank you enough for that, Ken. And you can always support Ken over at patreon.com/Ken Plume. Also, thank you to Kate McManus, who we met through the Thrilling Adventure Hour and who is a really wonderful and brilliant librarian and who offered to do research for us for nothing. Kate, I hope we have more research for you. I hope we get to do that. And also, Uri Kelman and Jen Alba are two people I worked with. Uri Kelman was a graphic designer at my day job who offered to, because he liked the show that we were doing, offered to make a logo for us. So the logo you see is the one he created. He's super talented.
So good. Yeah.
And Jen Alba, who remains a good friend of mine, would listen to every episode to let us know, oh, you missed an edit or everything sounds good. So she is our QA engineer for life, whether she is doing it into season 2 or not. So thank you. Thank you to all of those people.
Yeah. Amen. And I would also just like to reiterate my thanks of all of those folks as well, especially our producer, Ken Plume. This show inarguably would not be what it is and where it is without the very hard work of Ken Plume. And also, of course, to Kate. Thank you so much. And Uri and Jen. We also have to thank our musicians.
Yeah.
I mean, when we asked, they answered. Mike Furman, who gave us our incredible theme song that we have heard many, many times performed anytime we do a live show by the crowd at the show. The people of the world performing our theme song is a testament to the brilliance of Mike Furman. And of course, Jonathan Dinerstein with our score at the opening of every episode. How many podcasts have an Emmy-winning musician and composer creating a score for the top of their podcast and also coming on as a guest and being an absolute delight in that regard? Both of them, Furman and Dinerstein.
If we get a second season, we will have you back.
Yeah, we should totally have him back if we get a second season. Yeah, we might even still just use the same music. If they'll let us use the music again for a season 2.
I don't think there's any reason to switch it up unless there's a problem, and I can't imagine there will be.
No. But you know who I want to thank the most, Hal?
Who?
I want to thank the people of the world.
Yeah.
You know, the people of the world thought this was a fun idea and told their friends, and their friends told their friends. And now we have built a really, really fun community of people online who disagree vehemently, but love one another wholeheartedly. And I can't thank the people of the world enough for giving us the opportunity to ringmaster the circus that is our weekly debate. And to those people, I say, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. For Hal Lublin, I'm Mark Gagliardi.
For Mark Gagliardi, I'm Hal Lublin. Jesse, we're ready for a season 2 if you'll give us the chance. Until then, don't worry, everybody. We got this.
We got this.
MaximumFun.org.
Comedy and culture.
Artist owned. Audience supported.